Three, two, one, go! We're live.
Alrighty.
I should probably have changed the thumbnail, but so UFC 285 is next Saturday, dude. In 6 days. That's crazy. Snuck
I
up on us,
can't believe John Jones is finally returning in 6 days.
dude.
I
I
didn't
know it's
think it would
crazy.
happen. I didn't
It
think it would happen.
it feels like such a blast from the past. Like honestly, John Jones is a bridge to or like the just a forgotten era almost. Like he was beating guys like Shogun when they were in their prime. And now we're seeing Shogun just like getting beaten by nobodies by like Ihor
He was so young
Potierio.
when he was doing that. He was so young. He was the youngest ever champion. He's like 23 years old, opening up with like flying side kicks to the face
Yeah. It's actually
against Roman.
crazy
Crazy
how
man.
good he was at such a young age.
Really.
Compared to his competition too, because I think it's one thing for people to like now like I feel like nowadays if John Jones came up as a 23-year-old he would still be like a phenom, but I don't think he would have the same impact than he did
Oh yeah.
like 10 years ago.
John Jones, he was definitely, when he was young, fighting people of a different generation who were. I mean, the skill of MMA was just worse. It was worse. Like, the best fighters he fought. I don't know. This doesn't compare, I think, to what's happening nowadays. And even
It
in light
really doesn't
heavyweight, which is
compare.
one of the less skilled divisions.
But so let's just take a look at his record because his record is insane. 2008, he debuted against Brad Bernard. Then a week fucking later, he beat Carlos Eduardo, and another week late, actually less than a week later, 6 days later, he beat Anthony Pina. And these were all in different promotions. What the hell? And then about 2 weeks later, he beats Ryan Verrett. Dude, this guy's been like prolific ever since he was first became a pro. He literally became
Yeah,
6-0 in 4 months.
that's crazy.
Dude, wait, he becomes 6-0 in 4 months, and then he comes into the UFC. Wait, no. He comes into the UFC against Andre Guzmao, and then he fucking beats
Oh,
Stephen
never.
Bonner.
I know, but Stephen Bonner was, like, not that good. That's real.
Yeah, come on, man, give the dead some respect.
What? Was he like a math teacher?
No, he wasn't a math teacher.
Who
That
was the
was
guy who was a math teacher again?
that
I
was Rich
forget.
Franklin.
Oh yeah.
Stephen Bonner is the guy that got addicted to opiates and died.
Yeah.
Uh,
Dude, I mean, wow, this is what I'm saying though. Like the early, obviously, he has had a storied career and he's like gone on a crazy run. But let's. I mean, it was a different time in MMA. You couldn't do the same thing now. Everyone's at a way higher level now.
well,
Each fight takes way harder preparation. It's way harder on your body. You couldn't do the same thing John Jones was doing then now.
I know. And I think you said it best yesterday when we were talking about women's MMA. Women's MMA is about 15 years behind men's MMA. And
Right.
in the fight against Andrade and Aaron Blanchfield, you have Aaron Blanchfield and she looks like the fucking future because she can strike well and her ground game is just so elite for women's MMA. And then when you get like a relic, like Andrade against Blanchfield looked like a relic from the past, from like an era that's already behind us. She had no ground defense at all, like barely any takedown defense, no head movement, and no striking defense even by just keeping her arms up. It's literally like it literally just reminds me of older men's MMA when it's basically a test of cardio and chin. And it's just these guys would go in to the center and just brawl and see who could like crack each other first or the most times.
Exactly. It was very well, yeah. Like this is kind of, I heard Dominic Cruz talk about this too, which is that MMA was especially at that point much more about offense. It's about who can implement their game plan the best. And it wasn't even really about avoiding or disrupting your opponent's game plan that much. One of the reasons Dominic Cruz was so successful is because he was the first one who used his footwork and technique to make life difficult for his opponent. Just to make life difficult. It wasn't to land his own shots. It was to make his opponent's shots way worse.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like that's like Dominic Cruz is almost like a bit of a pioneer in that sense.
Well, it
You
is
know,
crazy because Dominic Cruz, yeah, you're right. Like he always would talk about, I want to hit without getting hit. And it seems like he
right?
pioneered that strategy. Like no one else had
Which is
really
crazy.
thought of trying that out first.
I mean, it just tells you how young this sport really is. Like, that's a relatively recent phenomenon.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're right. But
So yeah, but that's the whole point. Like John Jones was also really annoying to deal with. He would really disrupt your all your forward movement by stepping in with elbows, oblique kicks to the knees, and also poking your eyes out. And it just makes your life so difficult. Every
not,
time
yeah.
people would get things going against John Jones, he would just fucking poke you
Factor
or
into
like
that just
stab your
his
knee.
like ridiculous reach and
Yeah,
his comfortable like his comfortability pretty much anywhere in the fight. Like he is just a chameleon in terms of where he's able to like enact his game plan, right? I mean, we do
right.
have to give John Jones a lot of credit though because as much as we're
I do.
kind of writing off some of these older guys, like the fact remains these guys do just go in there and swing hard. Like they swing for the fences. And to be
Right.
able to consistently overcome just like wild roided up guys is super impressive, especially at such a young age.
It is. It's very impressive. I'm not saying it's not impressive because I mean, look, yes, it's a different time. He is also part of that time. You have to respect what people are doing, even though the era was worse. Um, the only reason I bring it up is because as we've entered into the modern era, as he's fought people like Gustafsson and Dominic Reyes, we've
Even
seen him
Thiago
struggle more
Santos.
and more. Yeah, I don't even think that. I don't think he. I
Dude,
don't
it was
think
a
he lost.
split decision
People.
against Thiago Santos.
Yeah, but I
His
still think he won that
his
fight.
only split
Like,
decision.
no, all I'm saying is that people. I like like in the recent string of fights where people have been crying robbery. Yeah, I think Dominic Reyes was a robbery. Gustafsson could have gone either way. I don't. I think he beat Thiago Santos. But yeah, it was close. It was
I mean,
close for.
I would agree with you. So let's talk about his matchup with Ciryl Gane because we can sit here and debate his resume all night,
Yeah, yeah.
but he's coming back in less than a
There's no doubt
week
it's impressive.
against one of the greatest heavyweights just ever. Like in terms of physicality and what he can do within the cage, there's literally just
Yeah,
he's just unmatched at
one of the most
at his
unique
division.
heavyweights for sure.
Well, right, yeah, one of the most unique and unique in a fucking good way, unique in a way that's
Right.
dominant.
Oh yeah.
Um, his only loss is against Ngannou, and that's debated. You've never seen Ciryl Gane lose on the feet. You've never seen him unable to enact his will on the feet. And the only real loss we've seen him take is Ngannou, and Ngannou was forced to switch to the wrestling there because he was just hitting nothing but air uh, in all of the stand up.
Right.
I am extremely comfortable saying that Ciryl Gane is the best striker that John Jones has ever faced in his career.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Like I honestly don't know who even comes close to that. Like who
Yeah,
has
like
given
he's
John
fought
Jones the most
skilled
problems?
strikers. Obviously, he's fought like Gustafsson, who's a very skilled striker,
Right, but
but
who's given John Jones the most
he couldn't
problems in
beat
the
him.
striking? Like Gustafsson and Dominic Reyes. dude, those guys do not fucking come close
Yeah,
to
they
the
don't.
level of skill and power that Ciryl Gane has.
Right, especially when you consider that he's doing it at heavyweight, where it's way harder to do the things he's doing. It's way harder to move the way he moves.
Exactly.
And Gustafson and Jones has also gained weight for heavyweight.
I mean, again, we can go. I guess one way of looking at a fight is you look through, especially at a really high level fight where both fighters have a lot of experience. We can look through the resumes and see who they fought, who each guy's fought that's similar to the opponent that they're going to be fighting against. Um, so I think Dominic Reyes and Gustafsson might be a pretty good comparison to Ciryl Gane, just in the fact that they both move around a lot. They're both like pretty tall and rangy strikers, and their game plan seemed to just be like defend all of the takedowns and be like pretty just try to win on the feet against John Jones.
Right.
Um, and we saw them both have like fairly good success against John Jones. But who has Ciryl Gane fought that's gonna be close to John Jones at all? Like I don't see anyone that's even in the
Wrestling
same
wise?
vein. No, just in terms of like
Oh,
style
just in terms of
wise.
skill? No. Yeah, I mean, thing is, John Jones, just the creativity, man. When you watch his fighting, it's actually like it's a work of art, man. It really is. You don't see stuff like that even now from anyone. The way he chains together attacks, it's just brutal, man. It's brutal.
The thing is, and I totally agree with you, but I really feel like when people talk about John Jones's creativity, it is a function of the gap in skill level between him and his opponent. The bigger the gap, the more creative we see John Jones getting. Like
Right.
I recently rewatched his fight against Lyoto Machida. He was not concerned at all in that fight. He got hit with a couple
No.
of good punches when Lyoto would blitz in, but other than that, he honestly just did not give a fuck. He would just like keep slamming the body with kicks, and then he just like was playing with him. Like it honestly looked like he was playing with him. He just slowly walked him down against the cage, and then when Lyoto blitzed, he just landed this like superb left counter shot that pretty much marked the end of the fight. And then he had his choice to finish him however he wanted, and that was the standing guillotine that he just like made him go limp and dropped him like a corpse. Um, and against guys like Dominic Reyes and Gustafsson, even Daniel Cormier, we still see him finding avenues to get the victory, but that creativity I really don't
Right.
think is like nearly as pronounced as in some of his earlier fights against more one-dimensional fighters.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, obviously that just makes sense as well. Like the better your opponent, the worse you're going to look. I will say, even against Cormier though, like there's this clip that keeps coming up on YouTube about Cormier talking about John Jones finishing him when he like had
You're not
John
gonna
Jones
head kick
rocks
me,
Cormier and then like kicks his leg out and stuff. Like even that's creative though. Even that's shows that you're always evaluating the best way to finish the fight. You're aware. You're in the moment, but you're aware.
right? I pulled up the head kick KO right now. Beautiful head kick from John Jones. Rocks Cormier, tracks Cormier down, kicks his leg out. Cormier finally slips and falls down. John Jones landing amazing ground and pound. Honestly, one of the most underrated facets of John Jones' game is his ground and pound. He can just opens up nasty cuts with elbows. His arms are so freaking long. He can completely destroy guys from their guard.
He is, dude. He's just man. He's so fucking good. And the thing is, here's the problem. He's never had that much power in his hands, including at light heavyweight. He's never been a very powerful puncher.
Right. His most powerful shots are like kicks and when his opponents are moving into him.
Yeah, and like elbows maybe. Uh, and then so then and then obviously like the kicks, they're harder to land, I think, than punches in general, especially against Ciryl Gane. So I'm a little bit. So that just makes his striking even more problematic, is what I'm trying to say. His striking really doesn't match up well against Ciryl Gane's for a
So
million reasons.
here, I'm gonna send you this video that I'm watching. This is John. This is like a John Jones highlight video.
Oh yeah, let me.
Sent it in Discord. So I'm paused at 30 seconds. He throws his wild spinning elbow against Stephen Bonner. And this is what I'm talking about, where his creativity is like a function of the gap in skill level. Because you don't see him doing this stupid shit, this dumb spinning shit against guys that are actually put him in competitive fights. He just feels completely